Hi everyone, this is Arcadius and welcome back to Naval. Today we'll be reviewing the second set of torpedoes for one of my favorite ships in the game, and that being Prinz Eugen, or as I have renamed her, Seydlitz. Now, the second set of torpedoes are most likely the longest range torpedoes you can ever have on a German cruiser, and they go out to 14 kilometers. Now, in order to do that, you do lose you do actually have a pretty decent amount of damage as well, good range, and rate of fire is good as well. But your speed is 44 knots, so they just kind of crawl all the way out to those 14 kilometers, and I don't really like the speed capability. But the range is quite nice, however, it is kind of far for a cruiser, I feel. I think for me, my preference of torpedoes for cruisers is between 6 and 10 kilometers. Anything past that, and I just start nailing my own ships. So I do prefer the 6 kilometer ones, and they are a lot faster, even if they don't do enough damage. But yeah, the rate of fire is still the same, so it's amazing. I think mine with my buffs, let's see. I have 1.09 rounds a minute for my torpedoes, and 20,000 damage at 14 kilometers, 44 knots. So I have slightly buffed torpedoes, but honestly, the torpedoes are not the main thing on this ship. It's a pretty much 30-30-30 split between anti-aircraft, torpedoes, and main guns. She is excellent in every single way. Actually, I'm working on like a slight secondary build for her too, for just laughs, because they already go out to 6 kilometers. And so yeah, there's literally nothing bad about this ship. She is so amazing. I love it. If you ever think about getting a prison ship, definitely think about getting this one. All right, so let's try the 14 kilometer torpedoes and see how we can use them, and if we can even use them, because depending on the map, sometimes they don't really work out. But let's see what we can do. Alright, and here we have ourselves a game. 1 carrier, 2 battleships, a bunch of cruisers, and only 2 destroyers. So we're going to have a lot of fun because cruisers melt very, very quickly to 8-inch weaponry from this ship. So I do have health buffs and speed buffs applied, so do keep that in mind. Armor piercing on the ship is amazing, high explosive on the ship is amazing, torpedo angles are amazing, torpedoes themselves are amazing, and anti-aircraft defense is amazing. Plus you also have the anti-aircraft defense barrage you can equip, or you can equip hydro if you so desire. You have 3 aircraft you could use. Fighters are not necessarily strong against air attack, but they are good for spotting at least. You can use them to spot targets over islands, and especially destroyers and torpedoes as well. Without the speed on your torpedoes, the damage is quite nice. And if you watched my first video on Prinz Eugen, or just pretty much any other cruiser with torpedoes, I do like to rush in and use my torpedoes at point blank, kind of like I use them on tier pits. So in that case, these torpedoes might be better because of the higher damage output. However, the speed difference makes me wonder if that will have any impact. So we'll take a look at that in this game. We'll try and use the torpedoes at range and also up close. So they are already loaded. I have some, well, we're not even in range yet though. So we'll wait a little bit longer and see if we can get some long-range torpedo strikes without hopefully nailing our own destroyer in the process. Alright, so what cruisers do we have? Scharnhorst, the Seydlitz, Hipper, Wichita, Helena, New Orleans. And then left Tuscan, Kagero, Vanguard, and Tirpitz. Alright, so that's pretty decent. Ooh, we have a destroyer we can start melting. Yep, right there. Back to the destroyer. There we go. So surprisingly, these high explosive shells on this cruiser are really decent. I always used to use armor piercing because there was no real reason to use high explosive, because armor piercing is just so good. But you can get a ton of fires if you hit the target enough times. There's times where I've shot Kagas And she just lights up with like 2 to 3 fires in one salvo, and it's low-key ridiculous. Alright, so let's pop some torps out. Just for laughs. I'm gonna do widespread because I really don't know where the ship is gonna maneuver to. And it looks like our Le Fantasque is gonna go down. So maybe I'll just throw some torpedoes into this big blob over here as well. And by the time I maneuver back to my right side, my torpedoes will already be reloaded. And I'll just have to not nail the hell in them. Alright, so let's see if we can finish off this Seydlitz. Well, we didn't get there in time, but that's fine. Alright, so enough focusing on the torpedoes right now. Let's see what we can do with our guns. That Wichita is maneuvering, which is not good for me. So where's the Scharnhorst going? Let's put some torps out for her. Ooh, this hipper is going to give us broadside, though. I'll definitely take that. Looks like we're going to rush down this New Orleans. Hey, we got a torpedo hit. We have 2 torpedo hits. I don't think I need widespread for this case. Though I don't know if that's the best angle to actually hit her with. Ooh, we're actually taking quite a bit of damage. Alright, so we need to regroup and kind of use our... Oh, we have another torpedo hit. Guns mainly here. Alright, so health buffs or not, we still take damage, and we're going to be taking a lot of damage if we continue giving broadside to this Wichita. Let's just go broad. They do a lot of damage anyways. Alright, so now we do need to get out of engagement here. We sank the Wichita with only 2 torpedoes. That was pretty nice. What else am I shooting at? Oh, there's a good Garrow over there. Alright. Alright, so the New Orleans went down. Alright, now we have to turn back, since all the cruisers are down now, and start working on the battleships and destroyers. But I also need some health back as well. I do have 4 heals, so that does certainly help, and we only used 1 so far, so I could still get pretty much my entire ship back if the game lasts long enough. But I was kind of reckless in there because I was trying to use my torpedoes and show them off. Normally, as you can see, they're still actually going. There they go. Ooh, we got the destroyer. Awesome. I tend to stay back a little bit and only rush when I need to. Ooh. Alright, so we already got a double fire on Tirpitz. Actually, we can try and get a fire on Vanguard as well. We have torpedoes? We do. Alright, let's see if we can get any torpedo hits on Vanguard, plus some fires. Yep, there goes a fire. The Yorktown, or Enterprise, depending on how you want to name it, is not really in range yet, so I can't really shoot her. But I will put my fighter up because I feel like any attack that comes from that carrier is going to be focused on either me or my teammates around me. So we're prepared to take on those attacks here soon. I'm going to switch over to armor piercing to see if we can get some more damage into this Vanguard. It does look like the torpedo bombers are coming for this Tirpitz, so let's pop our defensive AA and see if we can knock down a lot of these planes here. Looks like Tirpitz put her fire out, so let's see if we can light some more. And Vanguard went down before any of my torpedoes hit, so we'll never know if that was a good spread or not. Yeah, these shells just, or the torpedoes I should say, are just really slow, and that's the main drawback of them, in my opinion. And in fact, my Scharnhorst is kind of getting into dangerous territory if she continues the way she is without turning around. And this is my main problem with the 14-kilometer torpedoes, is that you have a high tendency to nail your own ships instead. That is why I prefer the 6 kilometers. I'm still getting some okayish damage. I'd rather not do team damage, but that Wichita is definitely going to take one. Oh well. And there goes the Wichita. Though that was mainly because of the Tirpitz. Alright, so we're going to finish off this Tirpitz here. Our torpedo or anti-aircraft defense is on cooldown right now. But we're going to switch back to armor piercing and see if we can take out this carrier. Alright, so is our fighter up? Yep, is she still up? We have one more heal in about 20 seconds or so, and that will be our last one, but we've gotten a good chunk of our health back. We're about half health right now. We should be able to get at least 3/4 or so by the time we get our next one completed. We're going to be knocking down as many of these aircraft as we can. Even without her defensive AA, she is still really, really strong with her AA. Alright, last heal going up. Getting some citadels. Our anti-aircraft barrage is up as well. And I don't think she's going to survive this next torpedo spread from the carrier. So that will be a game. Not the best game in this ship. Like I said, you do kind of want to stay at range more than kind of YOLOing with your torpedoes like I did at the beginning. But you can still do quite a bit of damage if you play just the way I did. As you can see, I was able to do 178,000 damage. 3 ships were sunk, 159 shell hits, 3 torpedoes, 17 aircraft shot down, 2 citadels, 7 fires, 2 floodings, 2 modules destroyed, and 146 secondary hits for almost 10,000 base XP and almost 13,500 free XP. So 40,000 damage was in high explosive, 71,000 was in armor piercing, 31,000 damage was in fires and floodings, secondary battery did 5,600 damage, and torpedoes did 46,000 damage. So, yeah, we did have some team damage. That poor Wichita, she soaked up a torpedo when she really shouldn't have. Sorry, Wichita. But regardless, my personal preference is the 6-kilometer torpedoes. Yes, you lose more than half your range, you lose quite a bit of damage, and you lose torpedo flood chance. But you do gain 20 knots speed, and the 6-kilometer torpedoes are a lot harder to do team damage with than the 14s, which is my preference. And honestly, I just like YOLOing, and I don't need 14-kilometer torpedoes to YOLO. So with that, I will wrap up today's video. If you liked the video, make sure you like and subscribe. And join me tomorrow while we go over the second set of torpedoes for Prinz. So again, thank you for watching and take care.